There's been a political row over the cancellation of Parkrun events in Wales because of COVID restrictions. Parkrun has cancelled its free 5-kilometre runs taking place in Wales as the rules mean that outdoor gatherings cannot happen in that nation if more than 50 people attend. Parkrun said, "We have no choice but to suspend all our 5K events from the 1st of January onwards. We know that some Welsh Parkrun events regularly have fewer than 50 people attending, but it would take a very small influx for them to exceed the limit." Well, this is unusual. The UK Health Secretary Sajid Javid has criticised the Welsh Government over the cancellation, tweeting, "I cannot see how restricting outdoor exercise is justified or proportionate." The Welsh Government said the country was facing a serious situation due to COVID and has defended limiting outdoor events to 50 people. We have asked the Welsh Government to speak to us today, but they are not able to supply a speaker. So if you're involved with Parkrun in Wales and you're disappointed, or maybe you can see why this has happened, we'd love you to get in touch by email, by WhatsApp or text. Let's speak first of all to the Chief Operating Officer of Parkrun Global, Tom Williams. So this is unfortunate. It's almost like an unintended consequence, Tom, is it?
Yeah, it's a real shame that we've had to reach the decision to close our events in Wales based on this 50-person limit. So yeah, we're really disappointed.
And you have to close them even though some of your events would have been only 20 or 30?
Yeah, very few be quite that small, but yeah, so we don't have a way of limiting participants at our event. So you'd only need a couple of big families to turn up to one of the smaller events to take it over 50, and then we're breaking the rules. So unfortunately, yes, that's the case. I'm
not always clear how the chain of responsibility works. Would you be liable for that? Or can you say, look, the local organiser needs to say, when it gets to 49, only one more?
No, so Parkrun Global is a UK-based charity, and we are ultimately responsible for the delivery of events across 23 countries in 2,200 locations. And so the responsibility always comes back to us. And, you know, if I was to say to you, you know, you're in charge of this part of the park on a Saturday morning, once 51 people turn up, you've got to select somebody to go home. I think that would probably be a bit too much of a burden for the volunteers, unfortunately.
Yeah, fair point. And I'm guessing you're not too impressed by these rules.
No, look, it's really, really disappointing. We've come a long way over the last 20 months. You know, the whole world has, and we've learned an awful amount. And, you know, the evidence is very, very clear that outdoor activity is safe. The evidence is very, very clear that outdoor activity and social outdoor activity is really, really important for public health, and has never been so important. And so, you know, in the absence of any evidence that suggests limiting outdoor gatherings to 50 people has any benefit at all, we're of course incredibly disappointed. We've written to the Welsh Government and asked for a meeting about it, but not heard back yet, I'm afraid.
And also it's puzzling, isn't it, because we're now in what we could hopefully call the later stages of the pandemic, and we're getting more division between Wales, Scotland, England, Northern Ireland, not less. So you could have a matter of a mile away a parkrun with 100 people in Shropshire.
Yes, or 400, 500, 600 people, absolutely. And what's really important, I'd like to stress, because I know people are really nervous about these kind of things. Since coming back post-COVID, as it were, across the world, we've delivered 56,000 events where 1 million people have taken part, 5.5 million times. We work with track and trace authorities in every single country we operate in, and there's not been a single confirmed case of COVID-19 transmission at a parkrun event. So we know they're incredibly, incredibly safe. Unfortunately, and it's not just the UK, around the world, we are seeing public health authorities and governments take very differing approaches to what appears to be the same evidence.
So, OK, because then we get into this, and because we don't have the Welsh Government with us, we can't ask them, but we get into this question of whether this is based on science, what they're doing, or whether it's based on politics. And I don't know what the thought would be there.
Well, yes, I don't know what the thought would be. I mean, from a scientific point of view, we commissioned research from the University of Canterbury Christchurch at the beginning to look at outdoor transmission. We created our operating model based off that. We then commissioned Queen Mary University of London to model infection risk at parkrun events, which they found to be vanishingly small. We published all that research on our website. And so the science seems very, very clear to us that the benefits of staying open are incredibly high to public health, and the risks of staying open are incredibly low to public health. So we're baffled as to what a scientific reason could be.
I'll read you the Welsh Government's official response when we asked about it. We're facing a very serious situation in Wales. A wave of infections caused by the new, fast-moving and very infectious Omicron variant is heading our way. We understand the importance of exercise for people's health and well-being and encourage people to keep active during this difficult time. For the time being, there is a limit of 50 people for outdoor events and activities. Almost seems like someone's stolen the last paragraph from that.
Yes, and look, we're really sympathetic to the fact that there's a rising infection all across the world right now, but we have to bring it back as a charity focused on public health, and we have a responsibility, and I have a responsibility to champion opportunities to be physically active. If we're going to remove opportunities to be physically active, it must be based on evidence, and to date we've not seen any evidence that supports that decision, unfortunately.
Chief Operating Officer of Parkrun Global, Tom Williams, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.